welcome back to my channel. My name is Christian. I've been gone for a little minute, y'all. I took a break. I dabbled in some self-care. I just needed quite a few mental health days, but now I am back. I am so excited for the content that I'm going to be bringing to my channel, and if you're new here, again, my name is Christian. Thanks for watching. If you want to connect with me off of YouTube, you can find me on Instagram at The Christian Sphere. You can follow me on my blog at christiansphere.com. And of course, feel free to connect with me on YouTube by hitting that subscribe button down below so you never miss when I upload a video. I have dedicated my channel to showing you the many journeys that I'm on, weight loss journey, debt-free journey, and more. And I have a little life update for you. Yes, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, my website, but you can also find me where the money resides. But seriously, y'all, I got a job. Ooh, I'm so excited. I was so excited to tell you guys this. I had to make a video and share some of my personal career journey with you. You guys have been so invested since I posted the full breakdown of my experience with taking the PHR exam and earning my certification. So I wanted to kind of let you in on what's come after that. From that PHR video alone, and of course, if you haven't seen it yet, I've linked it for you down below. But from that video alone, I have been able to connect with so many of my subscribers. You guys have even found me on LinkedIn, and I love connecting with you and hearing your stories and answering your questions. So of course, feel free to reach out. Before I get into telling you about my new job, let me just say this. I was laid off from my last job on March 24th of 2020. It was extremely unexpected because at the time, to my knowledge, the only people that were being laid off were people who were not essential, but also in order to work needed to be there physically. And by that time, I had been working at my remote job for about a year, and so I'm thinking, well, this has nothing to do with me. I was wrong, honey, just so wrong. I was laid off. Thankfully, this happened at the same time that Paige accepted a brand new job here in Houston. He accepted a new job, I lost mine. We were already looking to make that move to Houston. There were a lot of moving pieces, all in the midst of a pandemic. And at that time, none of us had any idea that it would last this long. Initially, I did not let the pandemic stop me. For the first 6 months of being unemployed, I was applying to jobs like crazy every single day. I was constantly thinking of ways that I could add to my resume, and then I decided to take the PHR exam finally after so many years of putting it off. I studied for the PHR exam, I sat for it, and I earned my certification this past October of 2020. Now, at first, I did not feel like earning my PHR really helped me to stand out. As soon as I got my PHR and put those 3 letters at the end of my last name on LinkedIn, I felt like now most jobs I was seeing was looking for the senior PHR certification, which was definitely disheartening. But also, I've probably only had my PHR certification for close to 6 months now, so I guess I thought as soon as I put that in my resume, jobs and opportunities are just gonna come out of the woodwork. It did not happen that way. Now, over the last 6 months of being unemployed, I could feel myself getting really discouraged. If you follow my blog closely, then you probably saw my February money update, and I was done. Like, I was done, y'all. I was not going to apply for another job ever again. I was over it. I was through. I was throwing in the towel. But then I had a change of heart when I realized something that was pretty devastating. And it was that I haven't earned a single dime within the last year. And because of that, I felt like my life and every goal that I have for my life has been put on a major pause. Now, I have to say, I am so grateful for Paige and grateful for Paige's job because with his job, we were able to pay all of our bills. We never missed a meal. We were fine throughout the pandemic. But living on one income, we couldn't put a dime towards our debt. We couldn't add to any additional savings accounts. Phage wasn't able to add to the savings that he has for a ring for me. I mean, very important things, right? With only one income, every extra thing that we wanted to do financially had to be cut out, had to be put on pause. So in the month of March, I hopped back on the job search. I started looking for jobs again, but this time in my search, I only focused on companies where I could truly see myself being happy. I have always wanted to do work that has truly meant something to me. I've always wanted to take a leadership role and have a hand in building something great with a company. So I heavily focused on those same desires throughout my search. Over this past week, I have shared with my closest family and friends the entire process, but in the end, I interviewed with a job and ended up receiving an offer from them within 10 minutes of concluding the interview. I was offered this role on March 23rd, 2021, just one day shy of a year of unemployment. That is nothing but God. And I have to say, this entire interview experience was one of the best interviews that I feel like I've ever had. And I wanted to use this video to share a few things with you that I feel like I did differently during this interview process and that really helped me to get this job. The first thing that I did in the interview that I feel contributed to me obtaining this opportunity was that I was honest about what I wanted. I want to be happy where I work. I want to wake up excited about the work that I do and the team that I work with. And during the interview, I made that very clear. We spend the majority of our time at work, and I know what it's like to dread the drive in. I know what it's like to cry on my lunch break because I would quite literally rather eat glass than go back to work. And if the pandemic has taught us anything at all, it's that nothing is promised. Life is too short to waste it being miserable at work. The second thing I did during the interview process, I was honest about who I was. I wore my nose ring to my interview. I didn't pull my hair back at all. I let it be wild and free and do its thing. I wore some gaudy earrings and I put my makeup on like I was sitting down to film a YouTube video for you. When something was funny, I laughed. I said straight up if I didn't know something when they asked me, or if I was really nervous about an aspect of the job description. I was just me. And if you have an interview coming up, I really encourage you to do the same. It's a given that you'll bring your skills and past experience to the interview, but will you bring your most authentic self? Now, usually my answer would be no, definitely not, especially not in the workplace. But at this time in my life, I am actively working to avoid places that don't allow me to fully be myself at all costs. The third thing that I did in my interview process was I asked the interviewer about compensation. Y'all, this is the first time ever in my life that I've ever been the one to ask about compensation in a job interview first. So let me tell you how the compensation question usually goes. Typically, I will wait for the person interviewing me to ask what my salary requirements are. Then, no matter how many times I had prepared to answer that question before the interview, I will pretty much stumble and my way through the answer. Sometimes I'll be so nervous to say what I really want to be paid that I'll dumb it down by a few $1,000s, which is horrible and wrong. Sometimes I'll even give them a range that they can choose from, something that makes the interviewer feel comfortable. But for some reason, I could never just say, I require X amount of dollars. In the past, I was just way too scared, but this time I switched it up. I asked the question first. I asked, what is your budget for this role? It is such a simple question, but as soon as I said it, I felt so much more confident and so much more in control of my future. Now, I can't control what their answer is, right? I can't control what their budget is or what they're willing to offer me based on my experience and the scope of work, but what I can control is what I'm able to advocate for myself. I can only make sure that I'm very clear about what I need, and that day I was. And one of the last things that I did during the interview was I interviewed them right back. Now, one of the top tips that people love to give when giving interview advice is make sure you have questions prepared. And I always do, but what I found is that I'm not really asking questions because I want to know. I'm asking questions just to say, oh, I asked you something and now I'm engaged in the interview process. This time it was much different. I actually did not prepare a single question to ask them before the interview. And I think that actually helped me a lot because I wasn't reading something that I had pre-scripted off of the page. Every single question that I asked, and there were anywhere from 6 to 8 of them, were based off of the conversation that we were having. And we have to remember, just like they're looking for the right fit for their team and for their company, we should be looking for the right fit for our lives. I wanted to know about their experience with the company. I wanted to know what they would expect from someone in this role. I wanted to know the vision that they had for their team and the company for years to come. And by no means are any of these questions groundbreaking. But without them, there's no way that I could have been certain that I was making the absolute right decision for myself when I accepted the job. Overall, I am truly grateful that I tried again. I'm glad that I didn't give up on the job hunt. It's so wild to me how things can literally change on the drop of a dime. I mean, I was one day away from a full year of being unemployed. God said, not me, not 365 days, not Christian. And I am so excited about this new journey. If you are still looking for work, or if you have any questions about the PHR exam, feel free to watch the video down below or connect with me on LinkedIn. If you are still on the job hunt, don't give up. Get really clear about what you want and demand nothing less than that. Thanks so much for watching. Till next time.